Before getting into the session, I like the members to stand up for our ICI motto song. After that, we'll be getting the session.
Yaesha supteshu jagrati, Yaesha supteshu jagrati, Kamam 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 Purusho nirvimanaha Tadeva shukram Tada Brahma Tadeva mritamujjate Tasmin lokaha shataha Sarve tadunatyati kaschan Etadvaita
Thank you, sir. So today we are honored to have with us CA VENKATESAN MURALI. He is a chartered accountant and tech-driven CFO, algo trading and analytic innovator. He specializes in technology and automation with a focus on accounting workflow automation, data connectors and dashboard builders. He designs and backtests rule-based algorithm using Python, Renko, EMA, CPR, RSI and volatility signals. Some of his signature work include designed Insighta, a self-service dashboard platform that enable businesses to analyze data seamlessly, Architect FinShots, a market alerting platform providing real-time trading insights, automated complex tally workflows, and develop Python-based tools for reconciliation, anomaly detection, and audit analytics. So we welcome you, sir, and honored to have you with us today. I welcome and I also request CA Sudha ma'am to give memento to our speaker, so that for his taking his time to be with us today. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. So I request CA Venkatesan sir to take on the stage and continue.
Am I audible? Audible, sir? Thanks once again, ICA, for this opportunity to speak with the community on Python, and it's indeed a pleasure to have this evening spent with colleagues and peers in terms of introducing technology to the Pythonic layer. So before we start the session, I just have one small request. How many of you have been earlier exposed to Python? Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So great. So for newcomers, if you are connected to internet, so we need to download something called PyCharm. So you can just Google it and download it, PyCharm. Yeah. So in the bottom portion of the PyCharm, there will be something called as interpreter. So the right side corner where the screen is. No problem. You have open Python? Open Python? Okay. So installed PyCharm? Installed, right? Open PyCharm. If you have installed PyCharm, so yeah, sure. No problem, madam. So I'll make it so you have this particular PyCharm community edition? Yes? Everyone, yes? Okay, no hurry. This PyCharm community edition is not coming. Okay, so yeah, that is also fine. Both are the same actually. So if you have downloaded, you would have downloaded. Yeah, just a second. This one, right? Yeah, just go here and go to developer tools. நீங்க அந்த வெப்சைட் get brain. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. So we'll go to this. You go to the website jetbrains.com PyCharm. Just go there. From here only you would have downloaded. I'm just downloading a community version. You just go there, sir. Once everyone has gone, I'll just tell you what next. So everyone has downloaded PyCharm. You have downloaded PyCharm? You have downloaded PyCharm? It works. It doesn't make a difference. No, there are a lot of interpreters. So I just use PyCharm because I am going to show you using PyCharm. So it will work that way. So before everyone have Python screen, PyCharm screen? Yeah. So when everyone is downloading, see what, so I'll just give a small intro about this entire subject and whatever. So I think we are going back to some are very young, so we are going back to our ITT days or your that paper, this info security paper that we had. So people are going to that, and people who have cleared before that particular paper became a showstopper to everyone. So we are going back to this olden days of so we are going back to the days of computing and its capabilities and other layers, right? So in this entire small request everyone to keep mobile phones in silent or in do not disturb mode. So the aspect what we are going to look at now in terms of Python is, with this session I don't promise that each of us will be geniuses in Python, right? Or so there are different stages, and someone who has an introductory to that particular subject. Second is someone who is an amateur, novice, hands-on, expert, right? So all I am trying to aim in this particular session is that you will have something more introductory, and I think it will slowly take it to novice to expert and other particular aspect. So before we anyway go to that particular session, so first of all we need to answer ourselves why Python, why it is relevant for chartered accountants. So we are one community of people where spend most of our lives studying, right? After making after clearing somewhere around 20 papers odd, and after getting some kind of a relief that okay, at last I don't have to come back to the institute for an exam, why now introducing something more to put it layered? So this was my attitude even in 2015-16, and then I met a doctor. So the doctors told me that if you are an MD, they are eligible for a fellowship program on ultrasonic. So till they finish their MD, it means they are not even eligible for a fellowship with a bigger doctor on ultrasound or some of those sorts. So that's what some of the doctors told me, and one of my clients is doing those programs. So I was shocked to hear that. So now we are in a environment where the technology is trying to replace our thinking abilities and trying to take over predominant of the works which was once shot the biggest works of the world, right? So today if you see in across the spectrum of the professions, we have I would say challenges beyond human beings. So earlier, let's say someone is quoting for a project at, let us say, and quoting X number, so let's say 5 lakhs. The competitor could be another professional colleague, or could be a firm, or could be some other company where their coding is a little bit lesser. But now the competition is not actually between the professionals and professionals, it is between professionals and technology. So embracing technology is very essential, and to be able to survive what we wanted to do. So that way Python is a very important tool for us to get grasp to this overall layer. And just because we attend this session or get a glimpse of Python, it doesn't mean we would have finished the entire architecture on what is happening in the world in terms of AI, in terms of ML and etc. But it gives us something like, for example, if you want to look at the sea 5 kilometers away, you will still see the sea, right? It is not that you don't see the sea. But if you're going to be a scuba diver, there is a different sea that you will see, right? So it is between the scuba diver and someone who is in the shore 3-4 kilometers apart and seeing the beauty of the sea. So the objective of this session is to get that 5 kilometers on, and would be happy if you each of, or many of you, would going to become a scuba diver in that particular territory. So first I'll clear my objectives on this particular session. Second, why Python? We already have grips of Excels. I think most of us here would day in day out breathe Excel, right? So if someone says control, an automatic mindset of a chartered accountant, whether it is A or S, and not about emotions or something of that sort, right? So we would have saved more files than lives. So if you are so immersed with the tool like Excel, why get to know another programming language? That's first a particular thing that we have to, I mean, before we start to spend some time on a particular subject, we need to know why need to do that, because there are plenty of opportunities not to do this and stuff. So there is a huge difference between what we can achieve using Excel versus what we can achieve using Python. First of all, this comparison itself is only because we are chartered accountants. Basically, this comparison is actually, what I would say, I won't call it meaningless, but this comparison is actually a bit of an odd, because the utilities of Excel versus utilities of Python are entirely different. In the sense, Python is even more advanced, even more superior in terms of what it can achieve, but there are certain things that you can achieve beautifully in Excel which you cannot achieve using Python. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag in terms of what can be done using Excel and Python. Certain things that you can do it in Python, we can't even imagine doing it in Excel or other programming languages. So by and large, Python is a very advanced language, and that is one of the reasons why we are planning to have a session on that particular tool. So any other than Python, any one of you here has worked with any programming languages? It could be C, C++, Java, JavaScript. Oh, okay. Oh, great. Any programming language other than Python? Exposure, more database tools. No, I mean, no, this is your first programming language. My understanding is right, first programming language. Beautiful. So the first programming language, so what is a programming language altogether? It's about you giving a set of instruction to the system or to the computer to act in a specific way, right? So to just give an example, our if-else clause that we write in Excel, right? We would have written if the statement true, false, and then you start writing nested ifs. You would have written some ifs, you would have written some if s, VLOOKUPs. So if there are 4 formulas that is taken out of Excel, I think most of us will go jobless. So those particular, whatever you write as formulas, in a programming language, that is called as syntax. So what you do there is, you instruct that Excel engine or the programming engine to say or to do a particular task but you tell it in a language that it will understand rather than what language that you will understand. Right? So that's the basic of any programming language. A programming language is nothing but you tell the computer or you tell the backend engine to follow a set of instruction with a desired objective. You know the desired objective, it doesn't know the desired objective. You communicate that desired objective in a sequence of steps, in a sequence of messages that it will understand. That is what we call it as syntax. Right? Clear now? So now this particular item of programming language was what the definition of it was last 20-25 years, right? But now with GPTs and GPTs, 190 sessions on GPTs, used GPTs. How many of you use GPTs extensively? Right? So what's happening there is you want an objective, right? But you don't communicate it into a programming language. You tell it in a natural language, like how you tell a friend, right? So what is happening at the back end there is this natural language gets converted itself into a programming language. The programming language gets executed and naturally you get your output in a form that you want it to be. Right? Clear about it? So that's what is the transition from the programming language to the natural language coding that we have gotten into. So then why, if now GPTs have come, why still learn Python? So the answer to that is the GPTs are built on Python. The GPTs are built on, not just Python, but the hardcore engine in terms of gigahertz of processing, the ability to process those computers with the syntax. So if you see the base coding layers, it is built on multiple languages, but the hardcore layer is this particular language. So knowing Python is essential for us in terms of that particular aspect. Python has large more capabilities and I think the presentation is not loading because it's duplicated, is it? It's okay. So I'll show you something just so what all Python can do, right? So I'll give you a couple of videos just to play around to know how Python can be useful or helpful of something of that sort. And I've kept it as related to the finance as possible, right? So now let us say I want to get a data from Zoho, right? So how do you get the data from Zoho? No, now how do you get a data? Let's say how many of your clients have Zohos? Right? So you want to get a data from Zoho, how do you get it? You log in? Great. So log in, go to the desired section, apply filters, download the report. Correct? Correct. So what's the deliverable with the client? No, your deliverable could be, you could be a statutory auditor, you could be an MIS developer, like that I'm saying. What's your deliverable with the client? Generally, financial preparations, right? So financial preparation, you will log into that particular Zoho work once in a while, once in a year, correct? Not much of an issue, right? Yeah, example. So let's say you want to file GST return, right? 10th is a due date for GST R1. And you want this particular information about the sales on 8th or 9th. I'm presuming a scenario where you don't file, you don't enter the books. The client has entered the books, he has given you user ID and password. He says, sir, ningle download pannikonga sir. How many of you don't know Tamil here? Oh, sorry. So I'll try to be as not switching to natural language as possible. If it is, I'll explain you a little later, again back. So client solter, sir, user ID password, ningle download pannikonga. OTP மட்டும் நான் சொல்றேன் சார். Okay, முடிஞ்சா OTP உங்க போனுக்கே போட்டுருங்க, பேமெண்ட்டும் நீங்களே பண்ணிடுங்க. So that's how the client, my clients are. So now he says that now every month you have to set it at 8 or 9th, put the user ID password, go to the client environment, download the data, right? Tedious task. Zoho has to work Our team has to work. Generally on 8th only everyone gets family functions, holidays, team is not available, we will be called for something. So it's a task of, I mean, the man management becomes the most difficulty task in our practices, right? So I have a solution. So what we have done is, we have built a Python script. We call it robotic process automation. What it does is, it mimics you and me. It goes to the website, it puts the user ID and password that you have given, logs in, goes to that particular relevant section of the report which you want, apply that filter that you have already told, and yeah, it goes to the date, you can change it to month, year, whatever you feel comfortable. And it has downloaded the vendor payments. We tell this technique called as web scraping in Python. So I have not done any numerical applications in Python. I have not analyzed the data using Python. All I am doing is a scraping or a press of buttons mimicking human beings. You cannot do it to the bank. I also wished I could, but bank has a captcha. So if you have seen, prove yourself as human, right? So we are going to the days where robot need not prove themselves, but we humans have to prove ourselves that we are not robots. So those areas, this will not work. No, can't. No. I mean, if that is the case, I think none of our bank accounts will have money left. Yeah, so, and not just that, there are websites that prevent it. Zoho doesn't. So it is not that you need CAPTCHA to prevent it. You can prevent, robotic activities in terms of certain websites. Normal downloads itself, there is no CAPTCHA, but they will say robotic activity not allowed. So there are websites to it, but no, it will work in G Drive, OneDrive, it will work anywhere. It's not. I mean, at the end of the day, you should need a two-way authentication. So if you have a, let's say, OneDrive or a G Drive, there is something called as Microsoft Authenticator, right? So Microsoft Authenticator is to prevent that there is no robotic process by which you log in. There should be a manual logging in. If authenticators are not there, it will work anywhere. But there are better options to do for OneDrive and G Drive than this, because Google gives you their own APIs to work it in a structured form. So you can use Python to get those APIs and work it in that particular style and style. You need not follow this route. In Zoho also we have APIs. It is not Zoho doesn't allow it. I'm not saying Zoho doesn't allow it. I'm just giving you multiple possibilities. Yeah, that is also here. No? So that you have to do it in coded here. You can fetch the data. API based data sets are available across board. So it's not there. So the point that I am trying to draw home is not the methodology in which what can be achieved. The more point to take home here is the capability of Python in automating your recurring task. No, Winman, what they have done is it's a JavaScript. Winman is not built using Python. Winman and other things, yeah, they have done using JavaScript. JavaScript also all these features like element web scraping and you can write. I mean, ITR doesn't allow your that income tax websites have allowed only some set of users who has to have, so they call them as tax API distributors. So you need to have a limited turnover and other stuff. With that you can do. We can't replicate what Winman is doing only because Winman is authorized by the income tax website to do it and you and me may not be. GSTN allows. So for example, you have GST codes that allows you to download the data by way of APIs. GST gives you APIs. So you can download set of information through that. Income tax website doesn't allow everyone to do it because security and other features. They have a vetted procedure. You have to apply as a partner, and then they have some financial requirement and all that. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, but see, there is something called as possibility and there is something called allowability. So when I say it is not possible, I mean it is not allowed. So there are methodologies by which something can be done, but income tax websites authorized partners, they are not. So tomorrow if there is a problem, income tax website doesn't take any liability, but Winman, they take that liability. That's the difference. So the moot point here, what I'm trying to draw home is the capability of Python in terms of automating your recurring tasks. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Correct. 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 Yeah. I come back to this question. I will take your question into two forms. Ability to automate is there in most of the languages. Second is the advanced layer on top of it. We'll divide it into two parts. While programming capabilities of automation is there in other tools also. It is not restricted that Python is the only language by which it can be done. But Python facilitates it much easier. Point one, right? So just give an example. I'll just give an example. I'm using my Python to do it. How many of, okay, so let's say I want to merge 115 CSV files. 115 CSV files. Right? CSV, comma separated files. Right? 115 CSV files. Right? Into a single file. Structurally all are same, no doubt about it. But I want to merge 115 CSV files. Impossible to do. Manually possible to do. Possible to do. You have Excel macros to do it. Power Query is slightly difficult, but Excel macros are easier. Because see, the problem here is not downloading the data. The Power Query, you have to connect every data. So Power Query treats every CSV file as a single file, single data source. You have to connect 115 data sources to you to do it. Right? Little difficult. Manually copying and pasting. Possible first, you will get people to do it. Present day, no. People are not interested in doing anything that takes more than 10 minutes. Attention span problem. Right? Right? It is not that Java can't do. It can. But I'm just trying to get a script, or I'll write the script as we speak, right? So I'm a market enthusiastic. So I have data of market for a long time, right? I analyze markets. So I have 134 files with me, right? It has some information about stocks. I'm not recommending any buy sell here, but right, merge. I have a code, so like any other intelligent, I will just use the code and edit it, right? So I'll explain the syntax. No, actually with GPTs now you don't have to learn the syntax. Help you out. But so so to say it precisely, you don't need anymore to someone to tell you the ratios, right? What is sales turnover ratio? You give an Excel which has sales and or let's say we want to know labor turnover ratio. Today's world you no longer need someone to tell you labor turnover ratios formula, right? You can Google it, you can get it from ChatGPTs, but there are certain things that we need to know, right? Whether it still makes sense, that particular layer. So I, from a little bit of an old school, I won't recommend not knowing syntax at all. What I will recommend is there are basic syntax concept. For example, if else, loops, class, and certain things where those are building blocks that we need to know. Like how you know sum ifs, how you know VLOOKUPs, how you know filters, how you know sort, those aspects, like that you need to know those aspects fundamentally in Python. And on top of it, whatever externally you need. So for example, the manipulations of it, that you are okay, that you can get to know from GPTs and work it out. But I'll tell you my experience. I am doing Python, I run an AI company, so whatever you asked is what we're building. So I'll show you a demo of that as well. But the point I'm trying to draw home is, if you open Excel, what is the first step you do? For me, if I open Excel, automatically my hands will automatically type Alt T SV and remove all the grid lines. I don't like grid lines. And I press Ctrl A and put a font, Alt S FF, and put a font to my company's font. So this is something that I don't remember doing it. I have a muscle memory by which I do it. So how do I get that muscle memory? It's not I have got it. You would have also have some functions where you have a muscle memory, right? That muscle memory comes only by typing syntax for a while. So if we are a beginner, if we want to learn that language, we need to practice that syntax before we rely upon external tools to give you that syntax, right? So which one, sir? R is slightly a different language, sir. It's not actually Python. So R is also a data processing language. It was developed in 1967s and other layers. That is also a data processing language. Like we have Python, R is also a language by itself. In today's world, everything is required for everyone. We don't know what is required for whom. Python is way better than R. I am a Python enthusiastic. I have worked in R, I have worked in Python, but somehow I am very comfortable with Python. With a disclaimer, I am not a fan of R. I am a fan of Python, so I would recommend Python more. Right? But see, by and large, there is no language that is superior. So what I would say is, I know Python. I use something in React. I use something in React Native. Something I have done using, LLMs. So it is actually a combination. So if you ask me, if you want to learn, whether learn R or Python, I will recommend Python, not R. So what I'm going to do is, this merge is not impossible in other languages as well, right? So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to write a code, right? So if you want to also write the code, I think you need the extra step. If you go to the right side corner of yours, it will show no interpreter for most of the people. For some people, they have installed the interpreter, so it will show the interpreter. For most of you, it will show no interpreter. Right side down. Is it showing no interpreter? Right side. You have Python 3.4. Okay. You have it. So it will not show no interpreter. For people who don't have an interpreter, it will show no interpreter. Clear? So it will show like this actually. You click there. It's there? Yeah, exactly. Add a new interpreter. Add it. Press add new interpreter. No. If you are, yeah, so you have to download. Press OK. Yeah, it can download anything. It will automatically download. No, you already have an interpreter. Yeah.
What is it, sir?
Yes. You say another interpreter. No, you already have an interpreter, sir. 3.10. Sorry? It's not the Python. Okay, so I'll explain this. Yeah, this one. So now everyone has clicked on that add new interpreter. So here. Yeah, you already have an interpreter. Can you now? Yeah, you already have an interpreter. Yeah. Yeah, you have an interpreter. I think most of here, you have an interpreter? You have an interpreter? Yeah, add local interpreter. Just press that. Create new, it is there, no? Yeah, okay, give okay. No, it's It's doing that. Let it do. It doesn't make a difference. Both are good only. Because you installed. Yeah. Done. You have Python interpreter, right? So, let it get installed. So what does this particular thing happens? Any language to listen to the computer, any language to control the computer, it needs two things. One is called a compiler, other is called an interpreter, right? So the interpreter is simply what it does is, if the Prime Minister of India speaks in Hindi and Prime Minister of Russia wants to understand Russian, there is an in-between guy who translates, who knows both Hindi and Russian, right? So the computers, if you see, are coded in machine language coding. So they call it primary language coding. And the syntax that got developed subsequently, it enables the, if I say import, what does it mean? That has to be told to the engine. So that is done by the tool called interpreter, right? Correct? Now when you type a code, you cannot type it at random. You have to type it in an environment. That environment compiles the code and runs it on behalf of you. That is what is compiler. So PyCharm is actually a compiler, which you downloaded. There are other compilers. Anaconda is one compiler. Jupyter, which is Google's, is a compiler. Google Colab is one compiler. So there are multiple compilers in which you can run it. Certain compilers need that interpreter to be installed, like what we did. If you work it in Jupyter, you don't need a compiler, you don't need an interpreter because the interpreter is pre-loaded in that particular layer. Jupyter, you can use it for multiple, you can use Python also. Yeah. So you can have a web-based version of Jupyter. So every compiler has its own advantage. If you use PyCharm, it has its own advantages. If you use Jupyter, it has its own advantages. In Jupyter, if you want to run a part of the code, you can. In PyCharm, you cannot run a part of the code. So there are advantages and disadvantages in any compiler. I have used PyCharm for a while, so I am just following it. There is no compulsion that each one of you has to follow it. It's all community version, so we can follow anything, right? So before we go and jump into this code, now I want all of us to write a first code. Okay, so type print no, yeah, sorry. So go to file, create new. Yeah, you have options, Python file, Scratch file. You just follow the screen here. I have pressed new. We can take it very slow, there is nothing, no hurry. So it is not, we have to do a automated layer now, so we can start slow. You've got this. You press file, so everyone has pressed file. Yeah, I'll come over. So let's complete whoever done it. Pressed file, press new, not new project, new. Now it's good. You have it here. New. Closing it. New file. Python file. First code. Right? Keep it here, we'll write. New file. Yeah, you have to, there is a select file type. It is Python file. Type, first code. You are creating a new project. You already have a project here, right? So you don't need to do a new project. You have two environments also. Which environment you want, go here, create a new file. Python file. Press first code. Yeah, you're right. You already created a file. You have to select the first one. You have to type the name and create first one. You need to name the file basically. See, it's as simple as creating a new or Excel file or a Word file you create. How do you create like that? New file. If you have created a project, it's new file. It's Python. First code. Right? Yeah. Add new interpreter. Already ஒரு environment, virtual environment இருந்தா அது வந்து It's working now. We're creating a new file, not new scratch file, new file. New create. இல்லை அங்கே போய் கிளிக் பண்ணுங்க. New. No. You first create a new project. I think your project does not create. There. Python file. Name it. Create it. File. Python file. Code. Yeah. First code is just a name. You can keep any name you want. You're good. Yeah. You can name it whatever you want. I see. Yeah, that's right. You're done? Good, sir. Everyone has created it. So I'm creating a new file here. Now I'll anyway explain you. So globally, everyone who learns a new language, the first code is always called as hello world, right? So print within your brackets and that within quotes you press hello world. Yeah, you can give a single code also. Type this here. Right. You enter, the code doesn't get executed. What you have done is you are typing the syntax. In our Excels, once you press is equal to and type something and press enter, it goes into auto execution mode. Correct? Python doesn't do that. It keeps your syntax. It knows we guys are not that savvy with Python yet. So it takes some time. So typed it, everyone typed it, hello world, hello world. Now you go here, in the right side you have a button. I mean, what happens is, I have a little bit older version of Python, you might have a different version. So all you have to do is right click on that file, just run. There is a button called run. Yeah, it will be. Different people have different UI, ma'am. So yeah, runs. It will display hello world. Hello world error is good. No. Print. Okay. So there are certain bugs that comes. So let's make it interesting. Coming? Okay. So the first thing is, Python doesn't understand your lowercase versus an uppercase. Right? So if you have to type print, if you type capital P, it says you are wrong. So Python is case sensitive. There are not always small. There are syntax that are uppercase. You should type uppercase. So it's case sensitive. Right? Everyone got hello world. What? Right? Yeah, some text starts with caps. Not like that. So why? See, the biggest advantage of Python is that it is not everyone done. It will not show. I mean, you can't train the error giving tool. It will show it there's an error. So I am making the error. Everyone got it first. So I am now making an error. So it will say in red that name print is not defined. Right? So Clear? Right? First in hello world. Everyone got hello world right now? Right? Everyone? You didn't get it. Interpreter இல்லைன்னா ஒர்க் ஆகாது. இன்டர்பிரட்டர்ல வேற இருக்கு. வேற ஃபோல்டர்ல கிரியேட் பண்ணணும். Just removing them. No, there is an error is created in that environment is not created correctly. And then redoing that task. So இப்போ உங்களுக்கு புது ப்ராஜெக்ட் தான் கிரியேட் ஆகும். ஓகே சரியா? இப்போ வந்து இங்கே பாருங்க இது கிரியேட் ஆகிடுது. இன்வாலிட் பைத்தன் இன்டர்பிரட்டர்னு இருக்குது. ஸோ கான்ஃபிகர் இன்டர்பிரட்டர், நியூ இன்டர்பிரட்டர், லோக்கல் இன்டர்பிரட்டர். சரி இப்போ பாருங்கள் ஃப்ரெஷ்ஷாக க்ரியேட் ஆகுது. சரி இப்போ ஃபஸ்ட்லேயே ஆகும். இப்போ நீங்கள் இது no பண்ணணும். இப்போ டைமர் இருக்கான்னு தெரியல. Just check. Okay. Everyone got the first code right? You are not done interpreter work and an interpreter and local interpreter. Download. Only you have an interpreter, it work. Right? So, it's not anything.
Right.
Okay. Right? Got it, sir? Everyone got it? Got hello world? Okay. Now, so இதில் என்ன ஒரு hello world என்ன இருக்கு? So now we'll go to the next one where we want it to do a data processing. Right? I want it to do some activity. Correct? So we'll go step by step. So what I want it to do is I'm defining a variable called A and pressing it as 1, and I'm creating another variable called B, I'm making it as 2, and I'm saying Python that C is A plus B and print A. You can, yeah, if you have to give a space, yeah. So the difference between our last code and getting this code, yeah, if you want to print C, if you can want to print A, you can print A. So in our first code, we asked it to print what we wanted it to print. The result is known to us, right? Here the result is not known to us, but 1 plus 2 is 3, enak theriyum sir, correct? So we'll make this I hope nobody knows the answer to this, right? Correct? No? I don't know. Maybe there's some huge number. I don't know whether Python is right. I just believe it is. Right? Someone wants to validate this with Excel? No, right? Okay. So the point that I'm trying to make is the second step now is the first step was we printed hello world within quotes, right? Here we are not printing with quotes. The difference is if it is a string, we tell Python that it is within string, within inverted, it is a string. Just print that. But if I ask it to print C, I am saying I have defined something called C here, go to that, listen to that and print it. Getting the difference? So just to add that point, instead of print C, if I say print within inverted C, within quote C, it will print. No, I have just added it because print C is also there, print it within inverted C is also there. It will print the string, right? So now I want to expand, I am going to tell it that don't print C now, print C equals, and I want my C to be printed, correct? Right? C is equal to what I want it to be print, right? So we can do it in two forms. The first form is we give an AND inside. We tell the Python interpreter that boss, there is some more, and just type C. So it will come back and tell us, you got it? It comes back and tells us you can't do that because you can't make a string and an int together. This comes back to us for our next section of topic, right? First we printed hello world, second we asked it to print C, right? Third, when I asked this particular example to be printed, it said I can't. Okay, so now Python by default identifies whatever you type as a variable. C, A, B, whatever we have typed there, those are called variables. Because if you type A, just type A, Python says, oh okay, he is going to do something with A, there it varies, the coder changes it, so it becomes a variable, right? Now as soon as I told A equals 1142 something without inverted commas, right, Python understood that it is a integer, right? It understood, saying boss is trying to type an integer, and when I typed B and I put these numbers without inverted, it understood that he is trying to give me an integer variable. So when I add both, it automatically understood C also has a integer, right? Now if so, now it has identified that C is an integer, and within quotes whatever I have given is a string. If you know data types, there are ints, float, there is boolean, there is date, there is numerical, and etc. So we will go back to that. I mean, we will not have enough time to cover, but there are variables, just keep that in mind. So the most common are int, float, and boolean and text string. That's what we are going to use the max. How many of you have typed the date in Excel and pressed Alt HK? What does it give? It gives a number, right? So what does it mean? Yeah, so what number it comes? 45, something of that sort. Have you tried 0? 1st Jan? 1900s, 2000, what it comes? Of which year? Which century? Not this century, the previous century. that is 1900, right? Correct. So what Excel did, or Excel coders did, is they said date cannot be a separate format. So date is just a number. So date is what? From a particular start point, you have dates. So we'll keep 1900 as a base, that is 0. Today's date is 1900 plus whatever days have passed. That's how they back and store it. Have you tried it with timestamp? What I'm saying is, right? So you press, it is 0.042. Because I have not given date, it has figured that this time is the starting time on the starting date. It's a float. So if you combine date and time, right? Press Alt HK, it means that it changes as a float, right? So here when I say to Python back saying that pause combine this, it says I can't. Correct. So I go back and close the syntax here and put an AND and say like this. Here after AND, it says boss I can't continue. Yeah, I'll do that. So first till now it's clear, right? Yeah, you can, but not with this particular code. You can. I'll come back to that. Yeah, you can come back to that. So what I've done now is I have print C equals and etc. Right? So we'll go back to some of the questions that sir had. How do I operate more? So I'll come to that particular layer. So till what we saw is very basic, right? The advantage of Python is that now I want to do some numerical operation. Okay, so I want to do some numerical operation. The coders worldwide, Python is an open source language, coders worldwide have taken pains in developing what we call as libraries and Python packages. Those packages enable you to do certain numerical and other activities which will enable you to do certain activities without you need to have a long code to write it. Right? So we'll try one such one. So I've created some files in the past just for this particular session, and so I'll first introduce that particular I just randomly created a sales data. See this one? I have an invoice number, I have an invoice date, I have a customer name, I have a GSTN randomly, I have a taxable value, I have IGST, CGST, SGST. I've created a simple sample Excel file, CSV file basically, but Excel CSVs are much, we don't have any, loaded formatting to it. So I just created it as a CSV file, correct? Now I want to do some, some layers here. That brings us to the next topic called packages. Okay. So when I say import, what I am saying is there is a package in Python called REOS globe, which the Python worlds have given us. There is a package globe REOS. There are millions of packages, ma'am. You will have more packages as we note. So noting down a package may not be of large help, but frequently used packages I have added here. So what does this package mean? Is that, say if I want to do some operations on a file, say let's say I have a file, I want Python to operate on a particular file in your Windows system. It could be that you want something to be saved as a CSV. It could be that you want to merge, you can do whatever. So you want Python to act and operate on a particular file inside your programming environment. So then to facilitate that, you don't need to write a large code. They have encapsulated all this code into a package called OS. This is the dependency. We are creating a dependency on a Python script, Python package. That's what we call it, dependency. So you can do it without OS, but you might have to write a longer script, right? Which is not required for us. It is like running parallel to a train. You don't do that. You get into a train and go to a place, right? That's what it is. So that is what we are importing. So the most used for chartered accountants, there are a lot of libraries. There are libraries for ML, there are libraries for AI, there are libraries for front-ending tools. There are a lot of libraries, lot of Python packages. We will not go in all of it. There are 3 packages that are very essential for us: Pandas, NumPy, OS, RE. These are some things that most of the chartered accountants will have frequent utility. Pandas, NumPy, there is another library called MATLAB, which is more to plotting the charts and other stuff, but maybe I'll just check whether I can have an example for that. But by and large, these are the libraries that we frequently use. So it is Pandas, NumPy. Actually, NumPy is nothing but numerical Python. RE is string operator, so they call it RE. No specific reason, because NumPy, the reason for that is known. It does a lot of string operations. So for example, in an Excel you want left 4 letters. So how many of you have entered a wrong pan in a particular program and they have said, no, your pan is not right? How do they do that? How do they do it? How do they do it? Right? So now you need what you exactly need from a syntax angle. Once you have a string, you need a substring where you get what is that 4th character and compare whether that 4th character is not a numerical, right? To do some operations like that, if you want to dissect and bisect a string, that is done through a library called RE. OSS operating system library. So if you want to access a particular folder, that becomes a Pandas is actually one of the biggest libraries that most of us use in Python. It has varied features. It enables you to, so basically what it does is, in Excel, how many of you have worked with tables, not normal, tables? You worked with tables? Tables, the difference between tables and normal spreadsheet, what is the difference? What? No, if you want, let's say I have a table where I have name to end. I'm creating a table out of it. Excel itself is like tables only, no? Correct? What is the difference I'm saying? You can do it without tables also. See, the biggest advantage of tables is that you don't have to repeat the formulas. It creates something called as a miniature database. It creates the difference between an Excel and a database. How many of you have an idea about what is the difference between an Excel and a database? How many of you have an idea about database? What is a database? Any idea what is a database? So we'll go first that. Database is nothing but a table, a rows and columns. A rows and columns. You have rows, you have columns. That's what we call it as a database. But the difference is, you cannot have random things typed over. You follow a discipline of every row may or may not contain every column value, but in a particular column, a type of that information that is restricted will be a specific data type. So in Excel, you have rows and tables, right? This particular 3 items is what could be a database, could be a table of a database, not database per se, a table of a database. But here in Excel, in marks, instead of 87, if I take Venkat, I don't say anything. It's okay, it will not be bothered. But in a database, I have to define, saying that first number is a numerical value. It will not accept anything other than a numerical. Second column, name, it's a string operator. It's a string, not string operator, string, data type string. So I cannot type any numerical. I mean, I can type an alphanumerical item, but you cannot do any numerical operation in that. So that becomes a set of tables, becomes a database. Like in your set of sheets becomes a workbook, set of workbooks, that set of tables becomes a database, right? Clear on that? Now, Pandas is one function which creates your data frame like a database table. If I want to create, I can create a data frame in like with the database table. But Pandas also allows you this kind of abnormalities, like not every column need to be marked, not every column need to be fixed. It allows you all that, but certain calculation do not allow. Say for example, you create a data frame, right? In marks you have Venkat type and you ask a sum of it. It will say error. saying that your data frame, that particular column is not fully numerical, but you're asking me to do a numerical operation. I will not allow. Right? I cannot do. It's not I will not allow. You cannot do, no. How will you add Venkat? You can't, right? So that's the whole point. So that's what we call it as database. So most of the operations that we want to do with respect to any data frame, we need pandas. Clear? NumPy is another library which is even more elaborated, where to give you the feature of NumPy, I might have to introduce you something more. Okay, I'll introduce it and explain you. So this is what we call it as packages. Yeah. PDF you need other compilers. Only for numerical operating data like CSVs, Excels, pandas should be enough. If you want PDF, say I have a code where I have written for a PDF, so we use a different package. It cannot be pandas. There is a different package for it, right? So next, what we need to know is in Excel, right? We'll just take from Excel to Python, right? I have, let's say, 100 rows. For 100 rows, I want to check something. What I will do? Normally, I will type the formula for the first one. What I will do the next? Drag it. So it will operate for everyone. Correct? No? Excel actually has the formulas calculated there. It's a spreadsheet operation where you will be visible. In a code, if you want something to be done continuously, we call that as a loop. Right? So what I want to do is, this is something called as for loop. There are different kinds of loop. One is called for loop, while loop, do loop, etc. So what is for loop is, for a certain condition to be true, right? Do set of activities. Right? For certain conditions to be true, do a set of activities. That's what is for loop. Okay. So now what I have told it is, for I in the range of 100 to 10, 1 to 100, print I. And I have told every time you have printed, increase I by 1. So this loop will be true only till 100. Correct? You can even type it as for I so this is what we call it as a for loop. Clear till now? Right? Now these kinds of operations, I want to do it on a data frame. Then I loop it. Correct? Instead of me looping it, if I want to do it in a single line, that's where NumPy is useful. Right? So I'll just give an example. So I'm creating a random file, right? Serial number, No, I'll take a real life example. I'll use Pandas and OS. When I type the code, I'll explain you. So I'm going to write a code where, okay, we'll keep it very simple. I have date. If you see my Excel, I have date. I have the Indian market index called Nifty. That's close. Right? So what I want my code to tell me is, on what date, where are all the dates, right? Nifty was more than 24,500. Number of such instances where Nifty is more than 24,500. This has the data from 2023 till let's say 1010, right? This is what I wanted to do. So how do I start? I have imported certain libraries that I need. So actually for this I don't need globe or RE, I just need OS, I need NumPy. I don't need NumPy in the first instance, but to make it simple, I want to tell you how NumPy works. I want to have pandas. Clear? So I'm going to define something called as path. The path is where that file is there. So I'm going to tell the Python engine that this is the path you have to look for that particular file. So I'm going to write path. Now, like every language, every coding language has a particular sequence or particular way in which you have to code, right? If you go and pick this particular item, right, you have a slash which is left slanted, right? The left slash we call it, right? Slash. Python treats that as an operator. So for example, between the first row and the second row you want it to print, right? You want to see that code a little bit more. You can use the backward slash and n. So it treats that as an operator. So if you copy this and say this is my path, Python says, hey, what is this? I don't understand. Correct. So you have in an OS something called as OS file locator. There is a function in it. In the library, in the package that we have, there is a function in it. With that only it will work. But so to circumvent it, what I am saying is, I am saying I type R with an inverted I tell Python that was first read it as string, but I am giving it to you for a specific purpose. You later convert it as a file location. Clear? So if I just type without R, it will not allow, because I have a slash. If it has a slash and next to that if it has a variable, let's say NV, Python thinks that you have an operator in hand. I mean, you want it to do something else. Your objective is not that. Any backward slash, the slash that you have, Python thinks that it is actually for an operator. So you have to tell Python that no, it's not for operator. I am just giving you a file location. So I will start with an R to tell him that yeah, I am just giving you a string. For now, treat it as a string. When I use the file path in pandas or somewhere, at that particular point in time, no, it is not a string, go to that file location, pick it up, right? Clear now? So now with that, I want to create something called as a, this is what first in pandas what we call that as a df. DF means data frame. So I want to do some calculations in a data frame, so I call it DF. Now if you see, I have imported pandas as PD. Did you see that? Pandas as PD. And now in my screen, I don't have to type pandas, I just have to start typing PD. Right? Clear? No, I have defined it here. Yeah, you can put it as AB. But what I would say, it's a convention that is followed. Right? In mathematical class, it will always find X. Correct? No. Why not find A? Why not find C? No, there is no point in, there is no wrong in finding A, C. But it is a convention. Correct? No. So like that, no, what he is saying is the alias can be anything. It need not be PD. It can be A, B, it can be anything. But it is convention. Automatically you will type it as PD only. Exactly. But pandas is a bigger name to type. So we are just hiding certain examples. So I have codes which runs to just 100 and I have written codes which runs to 524 lines. Now, I mean 524 lines, every time I use pandas, if I have to type pandas, I am going to get stuck. So that's the reason why it is made like this. Got it? PD. As soon as you put PD dot, it opens up to all my functions that are possible, which are coded internally inside pandas as a package. Right? So I am going to open pandas read CSV because CSV is the file that I have. Just excuse me for a moment. We'll continue our discussion. So I have a file where I want to do a set of operation, right? So I have a file name. So I'll say df read csv path 1, right? So first, when you start and you use, let's say this file, you create a random file like that, it will not work because we have not installed that package. We are just saying import. When you say import, what do you mean? It should be available in your system and you just have to call it. So where do I import it? In my screen, you go to tools, you go to view, you have a tool window and you have something called as Python packages. Python packages. You have it here, Python packages. You have Python packages. In this you have to type pandas. Whatever package you need, how will Python know? Yeah, I'll come there. You got what is packages? No, it's there here. For you, it's there here. Yeah, you can use PIP also. You have it, no? So you have to have pandas and you can just install it. No, Pandas is a package that we are using, so you have to install that. Packages la Pandas podunga. Not there, here. In packages left side. Just a come. You go here. இங்கே இருக்கு இல்லையா? Pandas போங்க. இல்ல அங்க இல்ல. இப்போ நீங்க இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணனும். இந்த Pandas இங்க இருக்கு. இங்க Pandas கிளிக் பண்ணீங்கன்னா இன்ஸ்டால் இருக்கு பாருங்க. இன்ஸ்டால் இங்க இருக்கு. இங்க பட்டன் you can install any one of the version. It is now installed. Got it? You got it, sir? Got it? Let's put Pandas. PD, no? Pandas. You have not defined Pandas as PD. அது உங்க கோட்ல தான் நீங்க டிஃபைன் பண்ண முடியும். Say install. You can install any version. What is DF? DF means it's data frame. Okay. Pandas and the pack only. Okay, in the section there, you can choose any. உங்களுக்கு என்ன வேணும்னு எப்படி தெரியும் அதுக்கு? Pandas வரும் பண்ணிக்கணும். ஸோ உங்களுக்கு நம்பி யூஸ் பண்ண போற எல்லாம் இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணிக்கணும். உங்களுக்கு இங்கே இருக்கு மேடம். You have to install. This person. You got it? You installed it? You have done it? This is Pandas. You have installed it actually. நீங்க ஆல்ரெடி இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணிட்டீங்க.
ஸோ இப்போ நான் நீங்க அடுத்த ஸ்டெப் பண்ணிட்டு இது அப்படியே பண்ணுங்க.
ஒன்றும் இல்லை, அடுத்த ஸ்டெப்பே நீங்கள் பண்ணணும். இதில் நீங்கள் Pandas இன்ஸ்டால் கீழே தானே இருக்குது. நீங்கள் ஆல்ரெடி Pandas நம்ம போய் இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணி இல்லை, இப்போ புரியல. நீங்கள் இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணிட்டு you have Pandas here. So that step is done. The next step, if you want to do, you don't have that file, no, you have to create that file. Create a CSP. So clear till now? Clear? So what we are doing here is there are packages, there are bundles of Python packages that are available. Python doesn't know what package you need. Right? So I am installing the package that I need, which is Pandas. Right? I have created a random file. This file also will not be with you because the path that I have given is my laptop, my file. You don't have a file. So you can create a random file. You can we can do that particular thing where you have a particular file, we can manipulate it. That is possible. But let's say you have keep any Excel files that is with you. We will try to do some calculation with that Excel file also, right? So now what I am doing is I am going to the next step of reading a particular file. So for that, what I have to give Python, that I have given a path. I am saying read that particular CSV file and store it in a data frame. That's what I am doing. Clear? So now what I am saying is I want to know whether it has done it right. I am saying print df. It is printed. No, is equal to pd. Is equal to pd dot, not hyphen. There is no hyphen there. No, you give a space. There is an extra space. No underscore is there. pd dot read CSV is a function. That is already there. pd dot read underscore CSV is a function. Any one of you have a CSV file in your laptop? Any CSV file? It'll read XLS, it'll read CSV, it'll read XLS also. If you want to use an XLS also, it's fine. No, you should download the file that is there in your laptop, right? You've changed the path? No, you have not installed Pandas actually. So if you see this, there is an error. Right. So if no Pandas is there, right? This is the path. You want it to print, right? No module name Pandas found. So the problem is you put a Python package, you have installed NumPy.
No, I installed Pandas also.
Yeah. It was not installed actually. அங்க installed தெரியும். இங்க வரும். இது வந்து அந்த Pandas library இங்க வருது. It is not getting installed. You have to press and install, then it will get installed. The error will be visible. நீங்க பார்த்தனால அந்த error சொல்றது உங்களுக்கு. So if I run this, இப்போ அந்த error வராது. It is installing. இப்போ இல்ல அது. Okay. Read underscores XLS and the function correct அப்படிங்கறத நம்ம பார்க்கணும். So if you wanted to read XLS, இன்னும் Python இந்த Pandas install ஆயிருக்கு. So அதுக்கப்புறம் பாருங்க இப்போ வந்துருது. இப்போதான் அந்த லோட் ஆகுது. So I'm saying read Excel. Then you give path 1. Because it is Excel, you can have different sheets and other stuff, which also you can give. Let's see. Okay, so if you want to do Excel, you need to have another library installed. So for now, we will use CSVs. நீங்க அதை CSV save பண்ணி பாருங்க, work ஆகும். Here's the part. Right click. Import IE capsule, madam. Clear? Your Pandas is spelling wrong, sir. Pandas nu போட்டீங்க. Pandas. அது எரர் காட்டுது, அதனால நானா பார்க்கல. What happened?
Install package.
You have not installed package. No, you have seen that package. You have not installed it. நீங்க அதை பார்க்க. You have not installed. See, you have to press install here. Until you install, it will not come.
I run this file Excel, .excel.
That file is not there. Your directory is wrong.
No, this is the file.
No, first இங்க போங்க. If you want to read Excel, you need another file also. நீங்க file போங்க சார். Validation format. Dot XLSX.
.excel.
Yeah, you can, but if you want to use this XLSS, there's another library called OpenPyExcel, which you should install. So it will show, நீங்க அந்த எரர் பாத்தீங்கனாலே it will show நீங்க வந்து அந்த dependent package காட்டல, so then there is no dependent package, so that is an error. Now it shows.
So what? So this is not required to change, right? Within the Pandas, this one is there, right?
This no.
So
You
what
unless until you have Pandas, you don't have it. No. If you want to manipulate XLS, no, I've just run your code. I didn't do any change. Another package is needed if you want to manipulate with Excel. That is called OpenPyExcel. That I have installed. That's all. I have not done anything. But it will show, even if you don't have that, it will show package error. I went to package, I have just run it. You wanted to print, it is printing that particular file, whatever is there. If you want to do manipulation, you have separate codes. அதுவா வராது, நீங்க தான் கொடுக்கணும். எங்க இருக்கு உங்க ஃபைல் பாத்து?
users C drive or ring.
இல்ல இங்கே இருக்கு, இதே ஈஸி. காப்பி ஆஸ் பார்த்து கொடுத்ததுனால காப்பி ஆஸ் பார்த்து கொடுத்து வந்து
Okay, fantastic. Part 1 அப்புறம் வந்து
yeah, you have the path. Now you should say df is equal to pd dot read csv this file. What happened?
We got it. You just got it.
No, நீங்க ஒரு தப்பு பண்றது. Yeah, till that right. இப்போ a is equal to some 0, இந்த பாட்டு தப்பு இல்ல. Correct, this is right. இப்போ என்ன பண்ணணும் நீங்க?
Outstanding or sum வேணும்னா.
So now if you want to do a manipulation, what happens is can no, if you want to add a column, you are adding a row, you are not adding a column. Correct? No, here you have serial number, location, outstanding.
Correct.
You want the total, so you are adding a row, you are not adding a column. Okay, so when you want to add a row, எல்லாம் அதுவே பண்ணிடுறது பைத்தமே இப்போலாம். df dot sum
பாண்டாஸ்ல பண்ணிடுமா அது?
பண்ணும். So இப்போ you want to give an index, what column you want to be added. Correct? That you have to give it as it's a column operator. So and the correctaன spelling we need, no? OS 0s வச்சிருக்காரு மேம். Here that exact spelling should be there. See, it has come.
Okay.
Right? So everyone is in a position to print that file. Only one minute. So the problem is, where is this file?
On the desktop.
You have a file?
Here, yes, small.
The file itself is not right. That's the reason it couldn't. The file is corrupt. Okay, so I'm saying I'm resaving it. Correct. So desktop இருக்கு இல்லையா?
Desktop lo hai.
We're making it as CSV. Okay. Now the data is right. இல்லை கரெக்டாக தான் வருது. நீங்கள் என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க, எங்கே இருக்குது அந்த ஃபைலு? சரவணா சிஎஸ்பி. இது என்னன்னா, இங்கே எல்லாம் இருக்கு இல்லையா, இதெல்லாம் வந்து முதல்லேருந்து இருக்கு. அதனால இதில் இருக்க ரோஸ் தான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு பிரிண்ட் ஆகும். ஐ ஆம் நவ் சேஞ்சிங் இட்.
ஒரே ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார்.
ஐம் சேஞ்சிங் திஸ். ஓகே, இப்போ இதெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் அன்ஈவனாக இருக்கு. கீப் ஒன் அன்ஈவன் அலோன், ரிமூவ், சேவ் இட், யூ ரன் இட். Coming, no?
அது என்ன சார் நீங்க பண்ணா மட்டும் இந்த டாக்டர் கிட்ட போனா
வரும், உங்களுக்கும் வருது மேடம். நீங்கள் வந்து அந்த ஃபைலோட டேட்டா செட் அப்படி இல்லை, நீங்கள் டேட்டா செட்டு கரெக்டாக வச்சுருந்தீங்கன்னா வரும். அந்த டேட்டா எக்ஸல்லேயே உங்களுக்கு அப்படி தான் லோட் ஆச்சு ஃபஸ்ட்டு. யா இல்லையா, அமௌண்ட்டில் நீங்கள் என்ன பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லுங்கள்.
total sum பண்ணு.
I'll come to that, wait. So now you have added this, right? You have this data. You have any data that you have, you are in a position to print it, right? Print that data. So we'll go to the next step where we start doing some calculation, right? So I'm going to make, this is irrelevant here. I mean irrelevant in the sense, Nifty data, if I column the sum of Nifty close, it doesn't make any sense. But just for the sake of this example, I'm going to type sum. Now I have defined DF, data frame, correct? Every data frame has a column. So my column is close Nifty. So I'm going to tell the code that DF print the sum of it. So now, okay, I'll come to that. You have loaded it as a data frame, right? So data frame, it is defined by its columns and rows, right? So from now on, அதுக்கு நீங்க ஒரு புது பேரு, எனக்கு எந்த காலம்ல டோட்டல் வேணுமோ அந்த காலம்ல இருக்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ரோ, that Python already identified it as a header. Okay, if you call that particular header, I have to call it within that bracket, square bracket. So Python identifies that what you call within square bracket is a column that you want, and if I say sum of that particular column, it gives you the sum of it. You have it. CSV file also you have a column. If you see the top, go to the head. No, here you don't have a column, correct? You don't have a column, not like that. You will have a column, but now you don't know a column. Let's say you want the 7th column to be total. You want the 7th column to be total. You have a column. In most one particular, okay, so before we go to Python a bit more, if you have tables, you work in Excel, you work everywhere. Don't work with naked tables. Naked tables are bad for you, it will kill us in a longer run. Always put what that particular table's headings are. Point 1. Follow a data consistency. When I say data consistency, what I mean is, if first row, say let's have an Excel spreadsheet A, B, C, D. Let's say C column. In the C column it is numericals. Suddenly in the 7th row, don't bring a text. Unless you draft financial statement where you're forced to, but as much as possible, keep text separate, numerical operation separate. That will help you when you want to use Python, when you want to use other tools like BI tools. All that will be helped only when you have this particular layer clearly coded, right? Clear for now? So you have, so how do I identify what is my columns? So I have loaded this DF, I don't know the column. So what I have to do is df.head, print df.head. So it gives me the heading. No, one second. If I give print df, I get the entire row. The first row between, if you see in my example, can everyone see here? Here there is no heading, so it calls index. If you have 200 rows, it indexes that first row, second row, third row. In Python, index starts with 0. So 0 means it's first row, right? What is, I have two columns, I have a column called date, I have a column called close nifty. So now I have total close nifty. Now if I want to find average, I just use sum and divide it by so just checking what to do with. So the sir, you want to know something? So here, I mean, the Python is as vast as what we can. To do it in one single session, it's always difficult. But I just wanted to introduce you how to have the layers done, how to install and certain activities. We can do, so I'll show you some codes that I have written and what it does. I'm not too sure whether we can, bring it on here, but I'll just show you, I am running it and you can see that particular layer. So if you see here, what I have done is, I have a folder path which we started. I have 134 files. I have written a code by which this 134 files will get merged into a single file. And it just happened in no minute. If you see, finished the code, exited with 0, right? So someone asked me, sir, can we read PDFs, right? So there are packages for it. So I'm installing another package. So I have these PDF statements, right? Net is little low. I have these PDF statements. So where I know what I want to keep, what I don't want, and I am running the code by which it will get converted as an Excel. So we have a client where they want the credit card operations to be done. Okay, so they wanted the credit cards to be accounted. Credit card statement has to be accounted in Tally. Now, how do I account credit card statement one by one? So what we have done is, we have written a code where the entire credit card statement PDF will get studied. The PDF gets converted itself into a Excel layer. I mean, if you ask me, sir, inni mudiyuma, today it is not. But I'm just saying there are possibilities by which we can run those layers and see that particular aspects apart. So okay, so now some intro. I think I have only another 10 to 15 minutes left for the day. So what we will do is, we will do a small layer of what we started and what is our next course of action, right? First, we started with a PyCharm compiler, PyCharm which is a compiler. Then we installed an interpreter. We downloaded required packages. We ran first an hello world code. We ran a subsequent code. Now we started seeing how we can read a CSV using pandas, and the next step is doing certain transformations in it, like summing it up, averaging it. If you want count, you can do, and if you want to find anomalies, we can. So for example, I add a sample file, right? So I am checking whether my GST number is right. I am checking whether the GST number A is right. These are certain things that I am trying to do here, where there are different functions, like I am using pandas functions like convert it to date and time, use pandas to concatenate, pandas to merge, a lot of functions in there, which I think by so it's like now how we were in Excel versus how we are in Excel, right? So how does that transformation happen? It's not in a single layer. It's about doing that continuously, making more inroads to that particular journey. Python as a tool. Okay, Excel can do it, but there is a difference. Now the file size that which you operate may be 100 rows. If let's say you want to run a file which is say 10,000 line items, 20,000 line items, 1 lakh line items, Excel can't run. Right? Excel can't run not just that, certain functions which Excel does, Python does it faster, number one. You can automate it. Yeah, you can. You can. There are automated codes that we have written where you have an input file, you have an output file, you keep GST number as a base. You have set first code. You just change the input locations. Automatically you run. Every time you need not open a file, put formulas for VLOOKUP, compare. You need not do all that. So just to give an example, your GSTR 2B versus 2A versus your books. Now from the books you have, let's say you have it GST wise, because in the books you can get it GST vendor wise, right? You have all vendor wise what are the input credit. From GSTR 2A portal you have GSTR vendor wise portal. You keep Python, just run this code, you will have an output. We have to develop that code. It's not we have developed those codes, but the point I'm trying to say is it is like a template. One time you build it, you just have to change your file locations for every client of yours and you can just run it. In Excel you cannot do that. Every time you have a new GSTR2A, you have a new GSTR number, you have to put your formulas in that particular Excel file again and again. Correct? No? That is not there with respect to this information. Not just that, let's say for example you want to send a customer to all your client, right? You want to send her your outstanding. You can automate it using Python. Right. So this is the first step that you would do. The step that we did now is the first step. So Python, I mean, I don't know what I don't know now in 2016. So how does it start? It starts with writing the first code. Right? How someone learned Excel? Someone doesn't learn Excel or a code on the advanced level. You will start with downloading what are the compilers, what are the interpreters, writing your first code, changing the syntax, putting the second code, and then exploring more and more on that. So advantage is if you now just type pd dot, you will have all the functions of the pd visible to you. Just type it out. No, you say is equal to df pd dot. Df is equal to, just type df is equal to pd dot right? You have set of functions that is coming up, explore one by one. You start with read CSV. It says, okay, what it shows. You start with read Excel. It will say what it shows. So once you know certain features of it, you will innovate on certain ideas. There are a lot of one. I can send you one. That's not a problem. Yeah, we have one. I'll send it across to you. I mean, the syntax we have structured. Like whatever I've gone through now, I have a list of code. What is your pandas code? So there are some 25 functions that we have already pre-loaded. Whatever I have taught in that I'll send it across to you as a material. I'll send it to them. They will in turn send it to you. Or yeah, they will be in a position to send it today. Nothing. It is infinite. You can do lot. I mean, it will take its time, but the more than that, it's your system's capacity on. Pandas doesn't have any limitation. It's your system capacity. 16 GB RAM is good. I mean, that's too much. I mean, for the kind of data manipulation that we are doing, that will be more than enough for what kind of data manipulation that we are doing. So see, if you want me to give you a learning path, so we'll go to that particular layer. What is the learning path for Python, right? The first step of the learning path is what we did today. That's the step 0. What we did, now we have a Python. If you want to test a program today, you have a layer, how which you will test the program, correct? That's our first step. What is our next step? Select 7 to 10 Excel operations that you do. Leave financial statement preparation for the latter. Don't do financial statement preparation now, because it's little layer. What all that 20 things that you do in Excel? Make a list of it over the next 10 days. Right. So just to give a easy example, GSTR, 2A versus books. Right. That is something that you might be doing. How many of you does MIS preparation as your practice? Right. You might do MIS preparations as your practice. So you might want to analyze certain numbers. In Excel, what all things that you analyze? You want to know abnormalities. Right. So if you have a list of vouchers, or let's say you have a TB, you have TB column, you have a TB for last month, you have TB for current month. You put a variance in Excel, right? And wherever variance is more than 25%, you see, just giving an example, you can have different percentages that you might be interested in. So this you do it in Excel. Make a note of this, what all you do in your regular work consciously, because now it is in muscle memory, you don't do it consciously. For next 20 days, what all you do, make a list. Right. Now for each of those operations, go to a GPT or go to Google, say give me the Python syntax for it. See, today you know what kind of error would come. Most common errors are what? Your syntax is wrong, your lowercase, uppercase is wrong, your package is not there. See, if you want to do a particular operation, you don't have that particular package. Those are your errors that might creep in. Correct. So the next step for you at the learning step is what I need from Python. See, the problem is not Python syntax. The next step is what I need out of Python. For what particular calculation am I going to use it? Right. So that's your next step. So once you have your 20 most desirable outcomes out of Python, which you do a calculation, except for financial statement preparation, keep that alone separate. You list all your calculative reasons, that what all you do. Right. Once you have crossed that particular path, get a syntax of it. Try those syntax. Error code it, correct it, layer it out, and create a library of codes. Right. Once you are, it's like once you are intrigued by that, no. So, for example, how many of you use now lambda as an Excel function. You using it? How many of you using it? Nobody using it. Okay. What is the most recent Excel function you have used, which you have not used in the past? Lookups. Okay. Anything? MFS, concat, SumFS. You used indirect. Okay. You use dynamic array? Great. So now, how do you get updated in Excel? How you keep yourself updated in Excel? No. How many of us go to YouTube video with the updation in Excel? Nobody. No. The point is your ask. See, what I am putting to say is that, so I'll just give an example. I'll use Excel to give an example. See, I have a data. This is from NSE website. I have a stock symbol, I have a lot size, I have a company name, I have an industry, etc. Right? Now, I want to know only one industry, which is, let's say, bank. No, I want to go to sector. I want only financial services as a sector. What I do in Excel now? Filter, right? No, you cannot do VLOOKUP because I want a data. Yeah, you can do pivot table, right? So I have filtered it out, correct? I want this data somewhere. What I do? Copy and paste it, correct? I use a different function called filter. Right? So I've got it as a filter. Correct. I want to make this dynamic. Right? No, I don't want financial services sector. Yes, no. No, I have taken a different column. Got it now? So between your copy paste and between this, is there a difference? Output is the same, end result is the same. First step is also you can do, second step also you can do, third step also you can do. It's our choice. Now if I have done this as a third step, I have a template. Next time I don't have to type filter, I don't have to copy paste, I don't have to sort. Correct? You can do it in Excel, you can copy paste, put it in another file. Every time a client gives, you can do. That is not impossible. But now this filter function, why I know? I had a need, right? I would have bumped somewhere, someone would have written it. I'm constantly watching an Excel video. I follow particular person on who gives you better videos or constantly upgrades you on Excel. There are a lot of content creators today, right? So if you go to YouTube, you have hundreds of Excel people. So for one particular doubt in Excel, you would have Googled it. So that one particular user comes, you follow that particular user. He gives you another video, you seize that. Something comes to your mind, then you have a particular reason, you upgrade yourself, right? Same way for Python, what is the next step is, you have listed all your 20 recurring activities that you might need, right? Try how can Python do this particular step for me using GPTs and Google. Once you have cleared that particular step, you follow people on Python. Very simple. There is no best person. There are people who are immensely best. So to select the one is wrong actually. The best way to start with is Google ranks it, right? Python for beginners. What is the first link that comes? He is the best. Because Google ranks it. I might not be a very good ranker. Google ranks it for you. So if he's coming in the first page as the first item, there is two columns. One is called sponsored and next. If you take whatever is not sponsored, he's been ranked by Google, right? To use them. So the next learning curve is so most of us are good at Excel only because of what? Using Excel. And if you don't use Excel, you will not Google it, right? Have any of us Googled what is the most important property of a semiconductor? No. Because you don't need it, you don't Google it. What you need, you will Google. Correct? Correct, no? Right. So the next step for the learning curve is, after you filter out all your 20 items, you go and start applicating that in Python. Some syntax I'll give you, like pandas, whatever I have listed down, I'll give you it as a spreadsheet or in a form of PDF. I'll give it to you today. You can use that, whatever I planned for the entire day. Because I never wanted it to be that I run the code, you see it. It's not a movie. So I wanted you to run that particular code. It is always, when you have a runtime error, it's like balance sheet not tally. So once it tallies, you give a bit of the high. So I wanted to try at least 15 functions now, but I'm still happy with trying 3 or 4. But I'm happy that you tried it rather than me trying it. What is the point in me trying 25 functions and telling you can do melt, you can do pivot, you can do that? That doesn't serve the real purpose, right? So what we tried today is start in pandas. You can explore this more and more, learn with it. I will leave my coordinates here. These are my coordinates. Any issues on Excel or Python or certain activities on, you have a doubt, you can always ping. I generally take 24 hours. In an email, I'll surely respond within 24 hours. So thank you for your patient listening, and I'm open for doubts and questions or something. Yeah. No. There is a code that is written in Python. There is a library called Python called elementary. No, Zoho gives you API itself. Zoho today, Zoho idea, there are 2 ways by which you can do. One is an RPA, which we did, robotic process automation. Second is an API route. Zoho itself gives you an API. Okay, Zoho gives you an API layer. If your client is in Zoho, he will go to his administrative profiles, he will create something called as an API icon. You get that API secret key, right? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, it can be done. On the particular, so in the specific instance, on the element build panno, and because it's a specific ERP, you might have to build that particular element, but it is doable. See, there are websites like GPTs itself. If you give a video, it will convert it as a code. So there are instances like that. Possible, not impossible. It is possible. But unless and until I know specific ERP, I cannot comment. But it is possible. Any web-based ERP. Downloads are, that's now control pani help the same way. No, even if it is not a web based also, it is possible today. It's not that it should be web based. Every layer is possible today, but that specific skill set someone has to code. That's what I'm trying to say. But you have consultants who have, I mean, if you don't have, see, those are advanced codes, right? So it will take a time for you to build to that advanced code. But instead, you will have consultants who are available at an affordable price by which they can code this and give it to you. You go to urban, there are a lot of people who write, you go to web and there are freelancers website, there is Upworks. So you just put an ad for this, they'll give you a very reasonable price in which these guys can do it in left hand and give it to you. They'll give you a Python script and which you have to just run every time in this console. You just have to download the script and run it. They'll give it to you. So that will take that learning curve. So for someone, so it's like someone can file a return, they can. But there is a difference between you filing a return and someone else filing a return, right? So that difference is because of that amount of experience. So that difference will be there. But if you are having that learning curve time, let's say 6 months, I'm okay to spend on Python, then you can also make. So it's possible, sir. It's not impossible to make. So this, yeah.
So next month we are having this national conference for SICASA students. So I think they want to speak to you for 5 minutes. Yes, just give me your 5 minutes of time, please.
What we usually do is we conduct seminars, event, workshops, cultural program and conferences for CA students. So conference only, you'd have known that it's a professional event for CA students to improve their networking and also get exposure to topics that are apart from their books and some exposure apart from their articleship. So that is what CA Students National Conference is. So regarding the topic, we have 2 sessions, which is totally new for a CA Students National Conference. That is Hackathon. So this is a Python CP program, I guess. So Hackathon only you would have guessed it. But how it is going to get connected to students? It's simply because of their articleship. Articleship, many places we are integrating VBA, macros, or any kind of tech related things in their articleship audits or anything. Okay, so that is what Hackathon is. And apart from that, we are having moot court. Moot court it's nothing but a replicate of actual court proceedings. So this is our national conference main topics. And apart from this, we are also having some motivational and special sessions. The speakers for which and the sessions, it's yet to be revealed. So what we want from you is you can give a brief about this national conference to the chartered accountancy students doing articleship in your firms. And also it will be a great help if you motivate the students or encourage them and create awareness among them to attend the national conference. Yeah, this is what we are about to tell. We also have the brochures with us. You can collect the brochures. Yeah, thank you.